Time for a Man in Gray book review. The P-51 Mustang by Robert Jackson was published in 2020 by Pen and Sword. It's 98 pages. Early in 1940, the British government realized that they were not going to be able to produce enough planes to take on the Germans. And so they went to the United States with a request for a long-range, single-engine fighter plane that would be heavily armed. And particularly, they went to North American aviation. But the North American did an extraordinary thing. Rather than just produce a pre-existing fighter plane, they decided to start from scratch and design a plane specifically for what the British needed in the war. And the amazing thing about this new fighter plane is they went from blueprints to prototype in only 4 months, an incredibly fast production. And this was at a time when the American government was still very much isolationist. So in order to get this thing through, they had to promise to build 2 prototype planes and turn them over to the Army Air Force at no cost. Well, when the prototypes were flown, they did very well at low level, but the engines were not very good at high level flight. They were disappointing. And so the engines were, the Allison engines were swapped out with Rolls-Royce Merlin engines, and that's when the P-51 really came into its own. This book goes through the development of the P-51, its variants, and the important role it played not just in the war in Europe, but also in the Pacific, particularly in the China-Burma-India theater because of its long range. And it even had a role to play in the early days of the Korean War before jets took over. And some other countries were using P-51s throughout the 1950s, including Sweden, Israel, and the Philippines. The last part of this book goes through the various model kits that are available for the P-51. It evaluates each one as to quality and detail and accuracy. So if you're a model builder and you're interested in buying or building a P-51 model, the last section of this book will be of particular interest to you. And for everybody else, if you're interested in aviation and World War II planes, this brief book is full of illustrations and a lot of detail. So it's right down your alley if you're a World War II buff. The book is P-51 Mustang. The author is Robert Jackson. This has been another Man in Gray book review. Thanks for watching.